Welcome to the 52 Weeks to Wealth. My name is Walter Murillo, and we've been going through this journey now for 42 weeks. This is Wealth Principle 42. 42 is give the impression of increase. And in order to do that, you must become an advancing person. So to give off the impression of increase is to let others know that you are moving in a direction. Now, many of us don't want to be seen by others. Has anybody ever heard fly under the radar? Has anybody heard you should fly under the radar? Don't be seen. Don't make too much noise. Don't let anybody know what you're doing. Keep quiet about your goals. Hands to the camera if you've heard all of these things at some point in your life from somebody who should know better, somebody who's supposed to be a guru or a teacher or a trainer. It seems like the poisonous mindset has been out there perpetuating for a very long time. Who's discovered already that in order to become successful, you must do things different from everybody else? Yes, because the average person is not successful unless mediocrity was the goal. If you wanted to just be unhappy in your marriage, you wanted to be overweight, and you wanted to be broke, and then you could be average. You could do exactly what everybody else is doing. But if you're looking to be in shape, happy with your life, happy with your relationship, and having a lot of money, you've now got to become the top 5% of the country. Now, in other countries, they don't have the weight issue. America, that seems to be exclusive to us. Other countries still have the poverty issue because America is the wealthiest country on the planet. And they also have the relationship issue because, human relationships, that seems to transcend all barriers. Men still don't understand women. Women still don't understand men. Countries still don't understand each other. Hands to the camera if you know all of this is true. It's a communication issue. It's a language and understanding issue. And that's where Alchemist Nation came in. Ron and I, a long time ago, about 4 years ago, said, what's the biggest problem on the planet that we could solve? And we said, well, really, it's mindset. If people could just kind of understand each other a little bit better and understand how success works and how to get the things that they want, then likely there wouldn't be as much turmoil in the world. Hands to camera if you agree as well. If people all could just kind of understand themselves a little bit better and maybe understand each other a little bit better, then we'd be richer, we'd be happier, we'd be in better shape, and there'd be less arguments. So the 52 Weeks to Wealth is designed in order to help each one of you increase your income, that's the money, and do it with less work, less time. Hands to camera if you're still cool with doing that this year. Excellent. Who here's been with us for more than one season? This is not your first time around, not your first rodeo. Excellent. Excellent. Who's been here for more than 2 seasons? Who's been here all 3 seasons and are still rocking and rolling with us? Give yourselves a round of applause. Our OGs. Now, many of the OGs, if you look around, they're actually millionaires already or multimillionaires. And some of them are just super high income earners, or they just do whatever they want, however they want, with whoever they want, because financial freedom allows that power. So the biggest advantage I could give you is an advantage of how to become a monster marketer, having people flow towards you without you having to do anything. Creating the impression of increase. There's a couple of things we have to understand first. To create, right, is the opposite of competing. So it's not taking the impression of increase. This is creating. It's manifesting. It's from nothing or from unusable parts, turning it into something that previously didn't exist. Understand, we create, we don't compete. Yes? That's what Alchemist Nation is all about. All right, so first, we've got to create the appearance. This is very, very important because one of the principles of success is people must be able to see where you're going. So I talked to a billionaire a little while back, and his name's Ramy El-Batraoui. He wrote the book, You Really Can Think and Grow Rich, or Can You Really Think and Grow Rich? And what Ramy was saying is there's 3 ways to become a billionaire. He's a billionaire. So I was like, how do you do it? So this was the question I asked. It's like, how do I come up with billion-dollar ideas? Right? How do I know an idea is going to be a billion-dollar project? Because I don't want to work, 3-4 years and then find out the project I built was only $1 million business. Hands to camera if you can understand that. After I've built a couple $1 million businesses, I now have that concern. I got to the end of the rope on this business. Like, how do I know that it's $1 billion business? So he says, well, there's 3 things you need to do. I've talked about these a lot because these really are the only 3 things that if I could get it into your head and you implemented it, you'd be rich. So first is you got to believe it's possible. And by the way, that's the hardest one. The hardest one is believing that it's possible. So don't disregard it, because if you're not already there, there's a good chance that's the one that's stopping you. And then the second one is you must create a visual representation of it. And I like the story of using Elon Musk because Elon, when he was building SpaceX, he didn't go build a rocket. What he did is he built a model of the rocket so he could raise capital from investors so he could then afford to go build the rocket. Same with the Roadster. He didn't build the Roadster. What he did is he built a model of the Roadster, showed a couple rich guys, and we're like, do you want one of these? Because it's kind of going to look like this when it's done. And then got the investment to build a couple dozen of them and then sold those afterwards. But he got the initial investment in the company before he was able to sell the product itself to those investors. Same investors. Interesting fact. Investors who invest in your company are probably going to buy your product. Ask care if that's cool. Nice little, that's a twofer. Second money is easier than first money. All right. This idea of creating something visual is what I want to focus on today in this principle. That's what this principle does. Go out and tell everyone. Third step to becoming like to $1 billion ideas is you got to tell everybody about your idea. Like Melanie's, talking about Subway now, and all she needs really is a visual representation of what it would look like if she owned Subway. So a website or a pamphlet or a banner or something that people could look at and be like, oh my God, like this is what it would look like. This is the prospectus, right, Melanie? If you had a prospectus together, it'd be very easy to go and acquire the capital for doing the deal. By the way, all real estate investors, where are my hands at? Real estate investors, capital raisers, people who are investing other people's money, OPM. This is your prospectus. This is your pro forma. We raise capital off of a pro forma or a prospectus or a PPM. So these are visual documents that somebody can read and to understand what they're getting back. They can read to understand what the project looks like, how this principle applies to what we do. All right. And then number 3, again, you got to tell everybody. Who here has been told by me multiple times, talk to more people, tell more people what you're doing. That's not going to change. That from now on until you and I are both like spirits or like ashes in the ground, I'm going to tell you to talk to more people and tell them what you're doing and ask them how you can serve them. Or ask them who they know you can serve. So going back to the wealth principle, give the impression of increase. First, you must desire increase. Hence the camp, if you want more for yourself. Hence the camp, if you also want more for others. Are you brave enough to want others to do well and others to have a better life? This is why we get along. So we're on a mission to build 100 millionaires who are inspired to build 100 millionaires. This is a long-term mission. Clearly, building millionaires doesn't happen overnight. It took us 3 years to build our first 24. Now, what's interesting is we've attracted a lot of millionaires. And so it's getting a little bit easier because the more millionaires in the community, the easier it is for others to believe it's possible and have a roadmap to follow and have confidence to go and tell others how that they're doing it. Hence, if you're catching the 3 steps, it's just easier when people around you have already done it. Who's found that when you hang with a group like this, or you hang with a bunch of people who are doing the same thing, you start doing the same thing. You start like moving in their direction. So an unfair advantage, a way to cheat the system is to just surround yourself with people who are already successful. Just get there. This is not a secret. Everybody knows this, right? Who's been known this since you were a kid, right? You want to be successful. It's average your 5 closest friends, like get around people who are successful, get around people who are motivated hustlers, be around the people who have money. You'll have money. There's a good chance, right? It's really hard to be broke when you're around a bunch of rich people. Like, unless like mentally there's something wrong with you. You're like, no, don't give me your money. No, don't give me that opportunity. Oh, no, I don't want to do any work. I don't want to do anything. Like you keep all the money. I'm just going to sweep the floors here. Like it's really, 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 really hard to be broke when you're surrounded in rich people. So this flaw of society is that they're keeping themselves down because they don't know that they want more or they don't want more. Who here is not like gone and experienced what it's like to spend $10,000 in a day for 7 days straight? Who's not spend 70,000 in a week? How could you ever want to, right? How could you ever even like be like, that's my new goal? Like, unless it was first implanted into your brain, unless you've had an experience, how could you ever want to go and create it or earn the money to do that? Here's not spent a $30,000 a month, right? So fathom what a $350,000 a year would be impossible, right? It's like, I don't even know what that looks like. What am I eating? Where am I living? Like, what am I driving? Who am I hanging out with? What are those experiences? So very important for you to start realizing like that might be the reason you haven't gone and wanted more. It's because you don't even know what that looks like. You don't even know like how to want that because it's not there. It's not programmed. Giving the impression of increase means that you must be advancing. First, you must be advancing in order to give the impression. You must actually be out there doing things, and then you must let others know that you're doing things. And when you do this, something magical happens. Others will suddenly want to do the thing you're doing. They can't help themselves. It is human nature to desire the things that others have. It's been a survival instinct our culture has had for years and years. Our species literally survives by chasing the things that other people have identified as valuable. Somebody identifies a plant as valuable because they've ate it and didn't die and it tasted good. There's a good chance that I should eat that plant too, because I've seen other people eat plants and not do good. And so we stay away from the things that other people don't like, and we go towards the things that other people do like. We have a bias, a review bias. When somebody else gives us a review, we tend to like it, not just 1% more. We tend to like it 50% more if somebody else suggests that this is a thing I should do in my life. Hence, if you felt that yourself. You see reviews online, you're like, oh man, this is a great product. Crazy. I'm buy. Well, it's the same thing when we're talking about this lifestyle where we're looking to raise capital. You've got to give the impression that your capital, like when they give it to you, it's coming back to them, right? They got to feel like you're the kind of person who can bring it back, right? If you're selling something, who here sells something? Hands to the camera if you're a salesperson on any level. Excellent. So when you're speaking to somebody, they got to feel like what you're selling is just the beginning product. And you've got to feel that too. Like you've got to feel like in your soul, like this is just me learning this product. Like this is just what I'm able to put out now, because like after a couple people buy this, I'm going to know better. And I'm going to create a better product and a better product and a better product. It's going to keep getting better. The same product is going to get better and better and better. Just like all the great vehicles, right? Like I know Tesla is one of my favorite companies. So I'm going to talk about them a lot, I guess, for the rest of our lives. But Tesla, think about the Model S. When it first came out, it was a great car. It was like the best car ever. But 10 years, 20 years down the road of the Model S being produced, it's like, this car is even better now. Same car, same functional car, except it's got an upgraded system. It's got upgraded software. It's got upgraded hardware. It's got, they put the batteries in different places. They do all sorts of different things to the same exact vehicle to improve. You're kind of like that. You're kind of like the same model, except your cells are changing every single day. After 7 years, you're an entirely different person. What's even crazier is your mindset is shifting constantly. And so after a year, 3 months, who's had like a 3-day experience where your mind shift like changed entirely in 3 days? You're just like, whoa, totally different person. You like walk out of the room a completely different person. So like you're changing and upgrading your systems, but people don't know until you give them that impression, right? Who here knows, like you're hanging out with your family this Thanksgiving and like you're a totally different person who hung out with them last year. Who here knows for certain, like they don't know, but you knew, like inside your head, you're like, I'm just gonna, yep, absolutely. But you knew something different. Like you knew some secrets. You knew some stuff that like, if you said it, they'd be like, what is that? That doesn't make any sense. That's because somewhere along the line, you have increased. You have improved, you have advanced yourself. And to give that impression to somebody who's interested in advancement is to put in front of them something desirable. Who here knows that people pay the people they know, like, and trust? Well, they can't know you. If you can't give them the impression of increase if they don't know you. You can't give them the impression of increase if they don't like you. Or if they don't like you to begin with, they're never going to want to move forward with you. So this whole concept of sales truly is based on give the impression of increase. Then trust you. Can they trust you if you're not increasing? I wouldn't trust somebody who's shrinking in their life, who's scaling back their business. I might be the next client they scale back on. They might cut some of my favorite services if they're scaling back, if they're pulling back, if they're not doing as much as they used to do. So it's really important to be yourself, always moving forward. Now, I'm not saying work more as we grow. We remember that that's my whole intention, is to make more money and do less work. So as you're moving forward, you must bring in systems or people to replace yourself as you're moving forward. So it's very important, listen to this, that your product makes money continuously, not just one-time sales. One-time sales can be deadly to a business, because if ever the sales machine or the marketing machine go down or stop breaking or shift, your income stops immediately. And now you have a challenge with all your employees. So we got into the rental business. Rentals are much nicer. Doesn't matter what the market does, cash flow still comes in. And we found the same thing with Alchemist Connect. So some of our other businesses have monthly subscriptions, things that monthly come through. So even though we made a big sale to help set people up with Alchemist Mastery, what we really did was we got like advocates into our platform. We build it all out. So now like the little $97 a month seems easy, seems small. In your business, you may be looking at, okay, I've raised a bunch of capital. Now I've got to put it into something that cash flows. I've got to put that money into something that cash flows and pays me back. Cash flow is super important. Now, I'm not saying just real estate right now. We are not real estate investors. We are cash flow investors. Hands can, if you agree, you invest in cash flow, certainly not appreciation, but we're cash flow investors. So some of my investor friends invest in hotels because hotels pay very well. They invest in casinos because casinos are cash flow businesses. They invest in, I have a buddy who owns 7 bars because it's a cash flow business. We actually, who here was at the summit and got to hang out with us on Sunday night, went out with us. So you got to meet my buddy Marco. So Marco, he owns commercial real estate. He actually owns the real estate for those bars. He owns casinos, owns hotels. That's his space. He likes cash flow. Vinny Chopra loves cash flow. Residential assisted livings, right? That's really business. It's not so much real estate. It's kind of real estate, but mostly these are businesses. They lean heavier on the business side. Hence, if you understand that, like RAL has like 25 employees, right? For like 80 units, 25 employees in that space. So it's a lot different from the traditional real estate that we're used to. Some of the other investments, man, mechanic shops. I know guys who are buying mechanic shops, auto body shops, who are getting deeper into service-based industries like hair, nails, because right now in a down economy, people do the things that save them money. Now, if you're looking at a business yourself, look at your business and say, is this recession proof, right? And if it's not, how can I make it recession proof, right? Like the advancing person, like giving the impression of increase will draw more people to your business regardless. So if you're looking at this recession and saying, oh my God, my business is getting destroyed, it's going to go down. Yeah, laundromat's another one. Or car wash. Yep. For us, like we're looking at this and we're saying, oh my God, a recession. This is where more millionaires are built. Who here knows more millionaires are built during a recession than any other time in the world? We understand that. Like we, as millionaire builders, like we literally own the site I Build Millionaires because that's what we do. We build millionaires because the recession is our greatest opportunity. We're ecstatic and everybody thinks we're evil or crazy. Who knows? When I'm like, oh my God, it's a recession. This is the greatest time of all time. People are like, oh my God, people are getting hurt. I was out with my mom yesterday. Here's why she only sees me a couple times a year. We were out with her yesterday and she's like, oh my God, so many people are getting hurt in a recession. It's so bad. Everybody's going to be, losing houses, losing their jobs, not being able to pay for food. And she's like, Walter, you can't be excited about this. I was like, Mom, like, you don't understand. Like my whole entire life has been based on like solving these problems for people. Like that is all I do is focus on how do we solve these problems. When they're having challenges, we go and we buy the stuff that's solving the problem, right? So we have somebody who wants to invest their money with us, right? Capital, the big who's raising capital? Hands if you're raising capital from other investors. OPM, right? They're raising capital from us, giving us their money because it's burning a hole in their pocket. And they want that return on investment. They give us 90,000 so they can walk away with 100,000. And if you agree, that's why investors invest. They want a return on investment. They want it. It's not like they like their money burning, like sitting there getting eaten up by inflation. So we're solving a problem there. Same with the people we buy the houses from, right? They're house rich, cash poor. They need money to eat. They need money to go on vacation. They need money to pay their bills. They need money to have a decent life. And a lot of times just extend their life or extend their money until the end of their life cycle. So we buy the house because the house isn't doing them any favors, but the cash does do them favors. We solve problems. Giving that impression of advancement through when you're in one of those appointments, letting them know, hey, look, this is what we do all the time. I can't wait to help you. I can't wait to get you to the other side. This is what I'm very good at. I'm going to continue doing this. This is a service I'll be doing for the rest of my life because I love it. That gives confidence both to an investor or both to a seller, somebody who's looking to sell to you. You must believe that you are advancing. Write down 3 things that you have improved in your life this year. Next, we've written our little list of proof that we've advanced or that we have advanced in the past. By the way, this is just so we can believe. We're going to write down what is the one thing that I could share with somebody. And it doesn't have to exist right now, but would it be a digital rendering, a video rendering? Would it be a 1-page cover letter, but something that you could share with somebody that they would see to say, yes, I want to either buy your product, invest in your business, or sell you my property? What is something visual that you could show somebody that they would now say, this works. Oh my God, I understand what this thing looks like. For capital raise, when we used to raise just debt, we used to explain, we're going to pay you 12% interest. That means if you invest $100,000, you're going to get paid $1,000 per month because it's 12%, there's 12 months. And we used to have a little graph that would broke it down, made it super easy for them to understand. Hence, Karen, if you understand, it's just a visual thing to explain what you do, what your service does. If like one of the buildings that me and Ron were investing in, it was a big 80,000 square foot building. So we had a digital rendering of it where like virtually you could drive through, like fly through the whole building, all renovated with the stores and shops that we were installing. So you could see that. And that made it easy for investors to say, oh my God, this is exactly the sort of building I want to invest in. Because if you saw it the way it was, overgrown, torn apart, windows broken, nobody was handing us money to invest in that building. Hand scan, if you understand, the visual is important. But what visualization have you already have, or that you need to go create? Be patient in the process. And step 3, who could you tell that might be interested in investing with you? Who might be interested in buying from you? Just write a short little list. 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 people who might be interested. We take this action right now. Just names off the top of your head. And they don't have to be right. This could just be, instead of me saying who might be interested, I'm going to say who you're just going to go contact, who you could easily contact, who you have their phone number. You can just shoot them a text or make a call and be like, yo, like, who do you know? Instead of putting the pressure on them and saying, hey, do you want this? Just be like, who do you know who might want this? And let that go. You got to pick up the phone. You got to call somebody. You got to shoot a text back. You got to build the relationships. You do not know what will happen either way. But I guarantee you, if you don't, nothing will happen. If you don't text, if you don't call, if you don't have the communication, we do not know the quality of person on the other side of the line. I have for years judged everybody. Who here has judged the value of another person and been wrong? I am wrong every single time. I swear to God, every time I judge somebody, they blow my mind. Every single time, like, there's no way that person could ever invest in my business. And before you know it, like, that person's found a way to invest in my business. 1, because I give everybody a chance. And 2, because I'm constantly advancing. The more you advance, the more you give the impression of increase, the more opportunities you'll have available for people to invest in your business. You got to make room for people. Some people don't have the money, but they got connections. Some people don't have the money or the connections, but they've got an asset you could acquire. Some people don't have the money, connections, or an asset, but they have a skill set that you acquire in your business. So if your business gets big enough, you can start making room for these people. There's actually space for everybody. You've just got to go big enough, wide enough, and that increase, that advancement that you're doing is going to give the impression itself naturally. If you're not where you want to be, it might be because you're doing it alone. And you're competing against people who've got 10 years worth of work happening in a year, 20 years worth of work happening in a year, right? There are other people out there who have, sharpened their minds and said, you know what? I can't do this alone. I'm just going to bring some other people in. I'll bring enough other people in and I'm going to get there faster, right? Be somebody who's giving the impression of advancement. Make room for salespeople, for marketers, for your clients to be advocates of your business. Everybody that we touch in Alchemist Nation, my constant wish for you is that you be absolutely successful in this goal of becoming a millionaire. And then let everybody know. And honestly, I don't even care if you let people know before you get there. I'm like, tell people about us now. If you're on the way, bring somebody with you. Who's heard me say that? If you're going to be a millionaire, bring somebody with you. Bring your family, bring your friends. Create that marketing within your business. Like, be the advancing person who's like, look, you hang with me, I'm going to make you successful. Who knows? That's genuinely what I believe. You spend enough time with me, one of the things I'm saying is going to get inside your brain, and you're going to be like, oh my God, I get it now. And you're going to go do it, and you're going to be successful. There's only 3 steps. There's 52 principles that all hammer back on the 3 steps, the 3-step process for becoming a millionaire. Now, because it's simple does not mean that it's easy. And because it's simple does not mean that you will do it. That's where the tribe comes in. That's where hanging with other people who are figuring it out, who are doing it, that's where it starts to have the impact. People in this society put too much emphasis on knowledge. Well, I know the steps. I'll never go back to a group like that again. Well, you know the steps, but you're not doing it. Like, yes, the steps are simple. Absolutely. Getting rich is the easiest thing on the planet, or simplest thing on the planet. It is doing it, like doing the steps to get rich, doing the steps to have an impactful life, to get that charity funded, to help somebody in need. Like, don't do that. Like, don't help somebody that much. It's too much help you're giving somebody. So I'm like asking, I'm like, Mom, like, what makes you think I'm successful? Like, where do you come up with this? Well, like, you got, like, that's all this stuff. Look, I'm successful because I bought real estate 10 years ago, right? I'm successful because I have cash flowing real estate. I'm successful because I have great business partners. I'm successful because I have these other businesses that nobody knows about everybody knows about them within Alchemist Nation, but what you hear about is me donating my time to building millionaires, going above and beyond in this mission to build millionaires, not because I have to, because I said I would. Who here knows that's the impression of advancement. That's the impression of increase. Knowing that we're not just building millionaires, we're going to automate the process. And we're very, very close. Like, When I say close, I had a breakfast meeting with the team last night, our acquisitions team, and I'm telling you, we're really, really close to automating the process where you basically put the quarter in, turn the machine, you get a bubble gum out the other side. So that's the goal, is you put the quarter in, you turn the machine, millionaire status on the other side. Because millionaire status is a lot like hitting the sound barrier. Like my good friend Bill Allen, I just posted his talk yesterday, last night. Bill Allen said it. He's like, you hit the sound barrier and you don't know. When you're in a plane flying in a jet, supersonic jet, and it hits the sound barrier, nothing changes except for the gauge. The gauge just twicks a little bit because the atmospheric pressure changes a little bit on the gauge. But the inside the jet, nothing. You don't hear a sound because the sound's outside, right? And now you're going faster with sound, so you can't hear it. There's no sonic boom inside the jet. That's on the outside. Hitting a millionaire, it's like, that was a Tuesday. I don't know. I don't know when it hit. It only hit like when I looked at my calculator and I was like, oh my God, like I might actually be there. That kind of hits. Millionaires, know what I'm talking about? Like millionaire status broken on a Wednesday. Like we don't know. Sometimes we're sitting in a room and somebody else calls us out on it. And we're like, wow, I guess I am a millionaire now. So it's not about the $1 million. It's about who it makes you become. It's about the process of getting there, the people you got to hang with, the relationships you got to have, and what you're able to do with it to help others once you've gotten there. So that's our focus, is we build millionaires. That means you must have the mindset, which means you're great at communicating with others, understanding, empathizing with others, and then creating charities or creating systems that could improve the world in a bigger way. So Ron and I, when we said we got to work on mindset if we want to make the world a better place, we asked ourselves, what's the one mindset that we could teach that would get there? Or what's the one gauge that we would know that a person had attained the mindset? And that would be $1 million status. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. Always work with the best.